don't do this for a short career. So everyone you meet is going to be a client eventually.
That's a mindset, Larrisa, I can tell you that most salespeople don't think about.
The work you do for today is not necessarily for tomorrow. It's for, down the track. You're always working for the future.
Why do you feel that you've had that faster return on that long-term view? Larrisa, episode 58 of the Smarter Podcast. Great to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for coming to little old Launceston.
My absolute pleasure. I know you're nervous about doing this one this morning, or probably thinking a bit why do we want to sit down and talk to you? And I think that's exactly why we do want to catch up and talk about your journey, because from what I understand of it so far, I think a lot of people are really going to relate to what you go through day to day as a partner and as a mother and as a real estate agent and get that, insight into how you handle it all.
Yes. I'm very nervous. It's an honour to do it, but thank you. And a very natural process to where I got. So certainly happy to share.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. And I just was asking you about your morning. So let's sort of start there. You were just talking to me about the day before your day. So let's give an insight to the listeners. What does Larrisa's overall world look like?
Yep. So I often do a lot of my admin at night. So there's usually a few late nights and, days are for selling, daylight hours. And then I get up before the kids and catch up on whatever I need to do, make some contracts, do some emails. Then I get them up and we have a busy couple of hours getting ready for school, and it's like they forget from one morning to the next what it's like to get ready for school. So
yeah, it's a new experience every day.
Yep. And then we drop them off and we've had a day before we actually start the day. So it's from one responsibility to another, really.
Fantastic. How old are your boys?
7 and 9.
7 and 9. What are their names?
Blake and Arlo.
Blake and Arlo.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. And your other half is Nathan.
Yes.
And you guys also run, is it a construction company? Is he what's that?
Yep, a residential building company, which he stepped into as soon as he was qualified. So that's been active for about 20 years.
Yes.
That was our sole focus. And while I've been in this office for 17 years, not always willing to take on the responsibility of a sales consultant because our focus was the building company.
Yep.
And I did a lot in the sales support position, but I was always happy to hand back responsibility to the consultants so that I could concentrate on that. I just didn't think I could give it the time that it needed. Yep. And then something happened one day.
Well, that's exactly what I want to get into and find out sort of whether it was something that just a switch flicked, or if the snowball just sort of took over and that momentum got hold. So, well, let's start there. As listeners of the show know, we like to kick off with your real estate stats.
Yep.
So let's start there. How long have you been in real estate? And in your instance, maybe you want to give some light as to the roles that you've had in your time frame. And also let's talk about the time that you've had off during those years as well.
Yeah, so my first 8 years in sales support, when I first started, we had 2 sales leaders and a total of 14 on the sales team.
Right.
So myself and one other sales support person looked after everybody.
Yes.
She ended up leaving, having children. So then I did the role on my own after the first 12 months. And we didn't always have 14 on the sales team, of course, but usually sat around probably 10 agents.
Yes.
And had some really high performers on our team, such as Jonathan Jessup, who's now with you.
Yes.
So worked very closely with people like him and learnt a lot from them. But like I said before, even though everybody tried to get me to be a sales consultant, I felt young. I felt like I couldn't handle the responsibility. We were focused on our company outside of this.
Yeah.
And so 8 years of that, and then I had children, almost one after the other. I was only back for 10 months in between them. Whoops.
Okay, right, okay.
Yep. And Peter always said that he had something special in the water around here so he didn't lose his female staff.
Okay, right.
So after we lost Peter was when I actually had my first child. So I had a bit of a break with the kids and I was inactive for a couple of years with maternity leave. One of them had a bit of a health battle with hips, and so that went on for quite a while and kept me home for longer than I would have anticipated on maternity leave. And while most people would probably love that, I absolutely love being a mother, but I almost got a bit stuck at home and I lost my who was I.
Your identity.
Yeah. So when I got back to work in a support role after having both the kids, I had a great team who I still have most of them, good friends with a lot of them, and everybody just kept nudging, and I just thought, well, why not give it a try? I'll do it part-time and see what happens, you know.
Yeah.
If I don't try, I'll never know. I don't want to get to 50 and think I should have done that years ago. And there's a lot of idiots in our industry that survive. So
yeah, you think if they can do it, surely
it's not that. Yeah, it's not rocket science.
Yes, it is. Yeah, real estate has many things. Rocket science is not one of them.
Yeah.
So I couldn't agree more.
Yep. Yeah, so onwards and upwards. After my first 3 months of home finding, I'm always a bit reserved and a bit cautious, and I was in that instance. I'm not ready to go out and handle someone's biggest asset in their life. I don't feel confident yet.
Yes.
So I actually had about 6 months of home finding.
Right. So traditionally in our system, for those listeners, when someone is becoming, to use your language, a sales consultant, there's a sort of a very thorough onboarding process which involves, as you say, 3 months of very focused prospecting while you're building your skill set. But in your case, even though you'd had that background in the office in the sales support role, you still took that out to a 6-month role.
I just wanted to be sure I was ready to handle that and have the confidence to do it. Otherwise, wouldn't have succeeded, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Excellent. So a lot of prospecting during that time. What did you prefer, the phones, the doors?
Absolutely door knocking.
Door knocking. Okay.
Yeah.
Why absolutely?
Face-to-face,
Mm-hmm.
I cope a lot better with that, and people don't reject you quite as harshly. The numbers are harder to achieve and you definitely have less contact on the doors.
Yeah.
But in the past month, I have just sold 2 properties repeat business from door knocking contact 3.5 years ago.
Right, okay.
So I've built relationships with people that I turned up on their doorstep and they've stayed friends.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you can build those, those high quality relationships potentially when that inception point is that face to face.
Absolutely. And I think people can see who you are and that you're genuine. Yes, it comes across in a phone call, but in person a lot better.
Yeah. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And again, like when we'll talk about Launceston, but I would imagine a town like this or, a city like this, but you've got, it's not going to take you much to find common ground with someone that you know each other. And then when you're starting there, you're not just a voice at the end of that phone. You're a person who could serve them and help them in the future. Yeah,
more than about 5 minutes in conversation with someone in Launceston, you can find some sort of link or connection.
Fantastic. Which you can leverage to both your benefits. So,
It's all about relatable ground, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's where it's starting. 6 months in that role, went into sales, but as you say, you started that as part-time. You still had demands and responsibilities more than others may with your son.
Yep.
And also, as you say, the focus was still the building company. So when you got into sales, what does part-time sales look like? So how do you actually, is that just hours you spend in the office or are you unavailable on particular days? What does part-time real estate look like?
The intention was, because my youngest wasn't in full-time school yet, so I had him with me on Mondays and Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't really want to sacrifice that because you don't have them little forever.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked weekends. I worked Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I had my son with me on Mondays and Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
The intention was to try not to be that available on Mondays and Fridays, but it didn't take long to be working those days and have him in tow, basically.
Yeah. Right, okay.
Yeah.
Which is the reality of real estate. And a lot of people do think that like, I'll just do it on these days, but real estate doesn't work that way.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
And I am not somebody who can switch off even on annual leave.
Yep.
It wouldn't matter where I was. If a client needed me, I'd take the call.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, and pros and cons of that. And again, we're gonna get into that. But obviously, you've had your career's had a lot of success, and I think it's built on some of those foundations. So let's, as I said, just so the listeners have a good understanding of what we're bringing to the table, we'll finish off your career to date. So you've gone into sales in a part-time capacity. Mm-hmm. How long until you went officially full-time?
There wasn't really a fine line for that.
Right.
So within that first 18 months, I got to gold badge.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that was part-time and some of that was full-time.
Yes.
And
so gold badge, again, for our listeners, that's where Larrisa is either doing 80 sides in a particular year. So that is 40 full sales, one side for each side of the transaction, or 500,000 in gross commissions brought in. And did you qualify for your gold under sides or dollars? Do you recall?
I think it was both, but I think the sides were probably stronger.
The sides were stronger, but you still ticked both boxes. Yep,
yeah,
fantastic.
Our market value and our commission value here is fairly low.
Yeah. Yep. Because we're going to talk about your platinum stats, but you can see your average fee is sitting at about 15,000, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, that's average commission. Okay. So that was, that first 18 months got you to gold, and then you received that at the end of last year's convention, if I'm not mistaken. So then this year, you've ticked that box of platinum, which is why we're sitting down today. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. So platinum badge again for our listeners outside of the system. 750,000 in gross commissions, or 100 sides, and we'll go through those numbers. But again, you've essentially ticked both those boxes, so we'll have a look at that. So exciting. Talk to me about where we are. I've come down this morning to Launceston. So tell me about Peter Lee's real estate within the community of Launceston and the town. What are the people, the property like?
Yeah, so the brand has always been recognised and reputable. Peter built a client-focused office, and I think one of the things that I've held on to that he always instilled in us is if we are helping our mother buy or sell a house or rent a house or whatever it might be, that's exactly how we treat our client. And I think you recently said something at the conference where how you're prepared to handle yourself once is how you always will. So if you blur that line, that's who you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Probably what you're referring to was I was quoting a line from one of Dave Anderson's new books, and he a line in that he said was, how you do anything is how you do everything.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. And it's funny because I can remember making that point and not mentioning on stage I'm talking about clients there. I think we're more talking about behaviours. But that's exactly what I feel when I read that line, is how you treat that one client is a reflection of how you're going to treat any client that you come across.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So Peter's built that. That's his legacy. What year did Peter pass again?
It's been 10 years.
It's been, that's all right. That was this year. Yeah. So 10 years ago. So 2015, Terry took over the office in that time, and that brand is still Peter Lee's Real Estate, and still we're very well recognised in the area.
It was a very comfortable transition to Terry, and we were so incredibly grateful that he was willing to take that on. Terry had worked alongside Peter for many years, and we had all worked with him for many years. He's much the same with principles and morals, and we haven't lost any of that.
Yeah.
He's a very steady leader, no decisions made lightly. He's very calm.
He is. There's no huge wave of emotions in Terry. You find that very, as you say, steady.
Yep. Yeah. And he grounds me a lot, because if I get wound up about something, as we do pretty regularly, the reaction out of him is just never where I need it to be.
Yeah, no, I love it.
But he does calm me right down, which is helpful.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And it speaks to his leadership, because, as you say, a lot of the team that you had all those years ago when you started in real estate, many of those personalities and faces are still here. So
absolutely.
Yeah, with some new ones as well. So kicking some goals. So, okay, excellent. Well, I think that gives our listeners a good sense of you, your journey, the operating environment that you have, and maybe let's talk a little bit more about Launceston. So for those who haven't been to this part of Tassie or here at all, how would you describe Launceston to an outsider?
It's a very quiet city compared to other parts of Australia. It's a very easy place to live. I often refer to it as life in the slow lane. Okay. We don't have traffic congestions. We can get into restaurants for dinner. We've got lots of amazing things to enjoy here. It's not enough for everybody. Some people move away to the big smoke because it's not enough. Yeah. But it's enough for me.
Do you find a lot of because you mentioned repeat business before, do you find a lot of people are staying and upgrading or downsizing within town, or do you find a lot of transient new people to town and people leaving? What would sort of best describe who you're dealing with day to day?
A big mixture. Probably mostly locals moving. Our first home buyer market's extremely active at the moment, but you always help retirees downsizing.
Right.
a lot of Queenslanders moving to Tasmania in the last couple of years because of climate.
Okay.
So while I could have said 10 years ago that people moved away for the warmth,
Yes.
I feel like a lot of people move here to get away from the heat now.
Right, okay.
We do have 3 freezing cold months every year,
Yes.
which I always say I'm going to leave for.
I'm not coming back until the end of that. And well, Connor's come down with me this morning. He's off to Cradle Mountain tonight, and they're talking -5 degrees.
I hope they get snow.
I said, yeah. So, right. So, yes. So that's obviously a big attractor for some people, and it's the deterrent for others.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
fair enough. Well, thank you for that. To just, as I said, for our listeners to get that good understanding. As regular listeners of the podcast know, we're going to jump into a field challenge that we've had come through the Winner's Circle hotline. I might just say on the hotline though, this is the first time I've been in your office. Been to Launceston a few times, but haven't been upstairs to sales. You guys have posters everywhere about calling the hotline. So a big part of the team's culture is reaching out and getting that external help.
Yeah, we've got it broadcasted right there so that we know we've got you on hand.
Yeah.
It's very visual in our office. We talk about it a lot. We are quite lucky because Terry's got an answer for everything.
He does.
So,
there's such a depth of real estate knowledge there and perspective.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And that's the thing, again, for those non-members listening, the Winner Circle hotline is a service that Smarter offer so that you can get that, really, it's that outside perspective. And that's the great thing about advice is sometimes like, okay, I've got this stuck seller. I can't bring this sale together. You've got someone else on the end of the phone who can give you an insight into, have you tried this? Have you looked at that? So, yeah.
Or you might get a response from your leader and you think, I don't quite agree with that. Let's get another opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You can have, advice can come from anywhere. And if it doesn't align with you, you can keep looking for what you feel is the right answer for that situation. So, yeah. So, well, coming through on the hotline, just in this last couple of weeks, actually, was this question that was asked. And I'm not going to say who asked it, but I thought I would throw it at you just to see what your perspective might be. In short, it was basically, how would one go about setting their next goal now that they've achieved the previous goal that they'd set for themselves, and that was already more than they thought they would be getting from their real estate career? And the reason I want to throw that one at you, Larrisa, is I'm sort of describing what you've done. Like you've exceeded more than you expected to. So if I put that question on that you were, or like you put yourself in that situation, how do you look at what's next for your career or for Nathan and the boys? Like how do you next challenge yourself?
It's very relatable to my situation, so I was quite surprised that was the field challenge. Yeah. I think we set the bar where we think we can reach it. Mm-hmm. It's always something that you set your goals to what you feel you can achieve because you don't want the disappointment of not reaching it.
Yep.
But if you far exceeded anywhere that you thought you would reach, set it beyond belief.
Yeah, right.
And have some goals that you know you're going to get to because there's the reward of the success of that. But if you set those other ones, they are just subconsciously in the back of your mind, even if you're not thinking about it all the time. Mm-hmm. You are working towards that huge milestone.
Yeah.
And you've already surprised yourself once.
And that's like we speak about that, don't we? Sort of the 3 things to look at with goal setting. Belief is one of them, but you've hit the nail on the head there. If you set it beyond belief, what that can tell you is, well, I've exceeded beyond belief before. What makes me think I can't do that again? It's
crushing that self-doubt. We all have it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you thought about what your next, is diamond sort of something that you think that you are going to reach for, or you haven't got there yet in terms of setting it as a goal? Or
I have to be totally honest with you, while I have goals, I started part-time and I never thought that type of mindset would achieve any of our milestones within our
system.
Within our system. So I haven't actually strived for those recognition points because I just never thought that would be where I got to. And I'm not particularly a numbers-focused person. I just get up every day, work hard and hope that it works out for me, and it does. So I'd love to get to diamond badge, and I can't see why not. Mm-hmm. Like that's definitely something that's on my radar now.
So it's on your radar, but actually setting that and going, I want diamond by this date, that's not how Larissa's programmed. That's not so that you wouldn't pursue it in that regard. Like, for example, let's talk about Jamie in your office. I mean, Jamie's he's hunting it down, he's counting, like he's determined to be Tassie's first diamond badger. It's something we've been speaking about. But for you, there's a belief there that it's possible, but you won't hunt it down in the same vein.
No, because my success is not why I do what I do.
Okay.
It's not my focus. Jamie's amazing. I don't know how he retains the information that he does statistically, but he started calling me at the start of the year and telling me what my numbers were towards platinum. That was where it became obvious to me that I wasn't that far off.
Okay.
He watches that and he understands that. And my success is a natural byproduct of looking after my clients. That's kind of where my focus is.
You buy into that philosophy. My client's success is my success.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
Does that mean then that you don't set goals professionally? Like is goal setting part of your life, and you look at do your goals go beyond looking after a person in their sale and everyone that you come across, or do you sit down and you say, like, whether it's through a vision board or if it's like holidays, like does that play a role in your life?
Absolutely, set goals with a vision board and what we would like to get to and what we would like to achieve, and yes, rewards in holidays and family time, but not a financial goal.
Okay.
I don't look at that.
Yeah.
I believe that those goals will come to you if you do the work.
Yeah. Fantastic. And you say we there, we're talking about you and Nathan again.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. Does his business have goals?
Not really.
It's
That's
just
also word of mouth, fairly natural.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
No, and I think everyone would agree there's no right or wrong way to set. There are people who are goal setters, and there's what Earl Nightingale would call river people, where they just float through life from success to success, and that's because whereas they might not be striving for that next peak, that consistency of result and that compounding effect comes off the back of consistently hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're obviously the beneficiary of that. So, well, let me then throw it at you as a question. If someone were to ring you and ask you that, hey, I've just achieved my platinum badge, I don't know what's next for me. Let's say a teammate came up to you and asked you about that. Where would you sort of guide them in direction of how they should think about what's next in their career?
Why not hit the next milestone? Set the goals bigger, set them harder, keep working towards it. It's an industry, or it's a position, career I should call it, that is ever building and snowballing. Mm-hmm. So if you can get to that point, you can only get better from there, because while you might focus less on the building in terms of the prospecting, the referral and the repeat business only improves over time. So there's no reason why it can't snowball to greater heights.
Absolutely. And just get success after success that you continue to build on.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's take a quick sidestep, Larrisa. Let's talk about the results for the month that we've just finished up, and then we'll get into our main topic. Let's take some time now to look at our results, not only for the month of September 2025, but also for the September quarter as a whole. Those months of July, August, September combined together to see how our members across the country went. So let's start with Salesperson of the Month in terms of sides. And again, I like to, from time to time, explain the concept of sides to our newer listeners to the podcast. Smarter Training is very much pro sales team. And so what we mean by that is creating a team of full real estate agents. They are listing, selling, prospecting agents. And as such, there's a lot of crossover between, you might have one listing agent list a particular property, but another team member who's working with a buyer, they will sell that inside the office. And of course, we have different splits for how that works from a financial basis. But what that does is it strongly encourages a lot of crossover with the team members working together to put sales together. And as such, what that does is that generates and emphasizes the idea of building a complete sales team and a genuine sales team. So that's what we're encouraging a lot. So when we're looking at the level of sides that we're talking about in a sale, what you can think about is that is essentially half of a sale that somebody is doing. So if you see someone doing, say, for example, 18 sides in a month, you can assume that that's the equivalent of 9 full sales. Yet understand that person may have been involved, in 12 12, 13, 14 different transactions across the month to get that total of 18 sides. So it's a difference of philosophy, and one of the things that stands us apart as Smarter Trading, but it's one of those things that very much creates and, as I said, encourages that genuine sales team that we look for our agency leaders to build. Sales team gives longevity to your sales department. It gives a lot of stability to your sales department, a lot of people with high skill levels. Really, what is that leading towards the end of the day? It's leading to better results for home sellers. So no one's having to deal with assistants or associates at the important points of the transaction. Anyone that they're working with has skills developed, knowledge acquired in those key areas of marketing and negotiation. So as I said, from time to time, I like to give a good explanation of what we talk about when we say sides, and that's what we are referring to. So if we look at our salesperson of the month in terms of sides, our number 3 position goes to Taylor Lee Bambra, and Taylor Lee from Page & Pierce Real Estate in Townsville, Queensland, led by Todd and Sue Pierce. And Taylor Lee, recent guest on the podcast earlier this year, Taylor Lee did 21 sides for the month of September. Well done, Taylor Lee. Josh Iglesias. Josh, of course, from Nicholas Scott Real Estate, led by Nick Skopoulos in Yarraville, Victoria. Josh took out second place with 23 sides for the month of September. Yet our number 1 spot goes to Ethan Hennessy from Dignam Real Estate in Bulli, New South Wales, under the leadership of Adam McMahon. Ethan, congratulations, mate. 36 sides for you for the month gives you that number 1 ranking. If we stay with salesperson of the month, but now we look at gross dollars. So when we're looking at gross dollars, what we're looking at is the commissions associated with that particular salesperson that went unconditional or exchanged in the month of September. So that's what we're looking at there. So our number 3 position actually goes to Bella Grieg. Bella, congratulations to you. Bella, of course, from First National Real Estate in Goulburn in New South Wales, led by Barry and Heidi McEntee. Bella, congratulations. A fantastic month for you. $172,752 giving you that number 3 position. Number 2, Josh Iglesias, Nicholas Scott Real Estate, Yarraville, Victoria. As I said, under the leadership of Nick Skopoulos. A great month for you, Josh, $184,729. Yet with those 36 sides comes some big dollars, and that's why Ethan Hennessy once again takes out that number 1 position as a salesperson of the month in terms of dollars. Ethan, Dignam Real Estate, Bulli, New South Wales, working under the leadership of Adam McMahon. Ethan, a big month, mate. Well done for you. $346,628. Congratulations, Ethan, taking out both salesperson of the month in terms of sides and dollars. Looking at our BDMs, a lot of you know what a BDM is, of course, those team members in working alongside our sales team, but their role is that in property management, they bring on new landlords to the agency. These are the new managements that they've signed for their business. So our number 3 position goes to Brittany Boffo from Johnson Real Estate Property Management in Southeast Queensland under the leadership of Tracy Lake. Brittany brought in 16 new managements with her team for the month of September. Now, number 2 and number 1 both brought in 19 managements. The way we rank number 1 versus number 2 is we then work off their average fee. So the agency with the higher average fee gets the higher ranking. But just a shout out to both of these ladies. So Rebecca Wood, who is in that number 2 spot. Rebecca works under Paul Wrigley at Ray White Real Estate in Toronto, New South Wales. Rebecca brought in 19 managements. And taking out that number 1 position also with 19 managements is Cherie Goodwin from Caloundra City Realty, obviously in Caloundra, Queensland, and that's under the leadership of Ben Price. So well done, Cherie, Rebecca and Brittany for that top 3. Now, our prospectors in the Smarter system make up a number of roles. We have sales associates who prospect. We have full-time prospectors, which we call home finders, but sales recruits, those people who are just starting with the agency, but within 3 months, they intend to be listing and selling as part of the sales team. They are responsible for generating listing opportunities for their team in that and those initial months. And so we've got all different varieties, like all different roles that fall under prospectors. And so that's why we rank them all together here as prospectors. So the numbers that we talk about, they're listing opportunities that they have created and that their team have listed. So first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to the number 3 position, Brock Portalesi. Brock, it works with Johnson Real Estate in Forest Lake under the leadership of Peter Tran, and Brock brought in 3 listings for his team in the month of September. I want to give a shout out to Brock for that. Brock set himself a goal of getting into the top 3 of prospectors in the Smarter rankings across the country, and he has done just that. So congratulations, Brock. Number 2 position goes to Valon by Taichi. Valon by Taichi from Nicholas Scott Real Estate, again under the leadership of Nick Scapoulis in Yarraville, Victoria. Valon, congratulations. 4 of your listings were listing opportunities that you created were listed by the sales team in September. But in that number 1 spot, also on 4 listings, is Alex Santos from Dignam Real Estate under the leadership of Adam McMahon, once again, Bulli, New South Wales. Alex, congratulations to you, mate, taking out that number 1 spot. It's Alex's first time in that number 1 ranking, and it's good to see you there, mate. So congratulations to you. What we're going to do now is just quickly move to salesperson of the quarter. So once again, we're going to look at that in terms of sides and in terms of dollars. And we've got some familiar names there, but just to give a couple of really key acknowledgements. Josh Iglesias, Nicholas Scott Real Estate in Yarraville, Victoria. Josh, well done, mate. You took out the number 3 ranking with 41 sides for the quarter. Just pipping Josh for the number 2 spot, Taylor Lee Bamborough. Taylor Lee from Page & Pierce Real Estate under the leadership of Todd and Sue Pierce in Townsville, Queensland. Taylor Lee actually brought in 42 sides, so just one more than Josh, giving her that number 2 ranking. But well out in front was Ethan Hennessy, Dignam Real Estate, Bulli, New South Wales. Ethan made a sensational quarter for you, mate. 84 sides for you for the quarter, for those 3 months period. That's a sensational effort, mate. Congratulations to you. I'm sure you are wrapped with that. But as we go to our top 3 in terms of dollars, we can see a couple of different names there. So congratulations, first and foremost, to Tom Gilbert. Tom works with Hudson Bond Real Estate in Doncaster, Victoria. Todd is under the leadership of Jason and Luke Kunos, and Tom brought in $345,928 for the September quarter. The number 2 spot, Bella Grieg from First National Real Estate in Goulburn, New South Wales, under the leadership of Barry and Heidi McEntee. Bella, well done, mate. $352,652. Yet our number 1 ranking is, of course, Ethan Hennessy, Dignam Real Estate, Bulli, New South Wales. Just quite simply an incredible quarter for you, mate. $783,125. That is it is just a brilliant quarter, mate. It is impressive, and I'm sure it's one that you're very proud of. So congratulations to all of our ranking, those people who made the top 10s and the top 20s across the country for both September and the September quarter. So I read a book a couple of years ago many years ago called The Accidental Salesperson. And it's that title that has inspired the title of this episode. And we've called this episode The Accidental Superstar. Okay. Now, the reason I've done that is, I guess watching your career has been interesting for me, because it wasn't until the last couple of years that I even realized you were in sales. Like you've always been here on the periphery, but you've sort of just ended up here as, a lot of people in sales sort of accidentally got there. And then without, as you've just said earlier in the episode, without really intentionally doing it, you've hit platinum level. You've got this great following of people in the air referral business. You are becoming, Terry was saying to me this morning, you were dealing with his accountant, and he said, if you ever get rid of that woman, just what are you thinking? And so you've built this reputation. Where does that start? So your focus for clients, wanting to look after them, where does that come from?
I've always been a caring person. I guess that's where it starts. I will put other people's benefits ahead of my own, and I'm not ego-driven.
Okay.
We've talked about that before. And so my success isn't on my radar. It just, if it happens, it happens. I have an attitude of I have enough. My life is plentiful. Anything that goes beyond what I expect is amazing. I don't know. It's really about putting people first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about growing up. What did mum and dad do in business or like for a career?
Yep. So mum had a few different jobs, mostly looked after us and sort of worked on the side with cleaning positions and things like that. She was a very hard worker and Dad was always a hard worker as a bricklayer. We ended up with a blended family. So I have a second dad and he's also a hard worker. He's a boilermaker. So just regular people, regular family.
But they've instilled a work ethic in you. So that's always, you find that people's work ethic often is a reflection of their parents. That's sort of that earliest modelling that they get.
Yep.
So I can see probably, and I'm making assumptions here, but work ethic has come from mum and dad and second dad. But then philosophy around business, that's been ingrained in you very early from originally Peter and now reinforced by Terry in these years of having, if we're going to be in business, if we're going to be doing what we're doing, we've got to put the client first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree with you more.
In your email that you sent me just anticipating for today, right? You've said, my success is almost accidental from just doing the right thing by people. Most of the time I feel like I've fluked it. These are your exact words. I started as part-time sales, didn't expect to be able to reach this as a mum of young children and with also owning another business with my partner. The success has naturally built. I get up, I work hard, build great relationships, and the numbers flow. Okay? Now I got to say, that's good enough for a podcast. We could end it right there, and there's some great takeaways. But let's take the opportunity to dig into that a little bit further. But if we go through that chronologically, that story that we've just gone through in your career, let's look at those early years. So in sales support, one of the things that Peter originally did and then Terry did, they would always bring you along to training.
Yes.
So what's the advantage for you as supporting the sales people and the sales team coming along to sales specific training?
Some people could see that as a very large expense, but I was able to conduct myself basically as a salesperson, walk and talk like a salesperson for them at any moment. And so I was kind of doing that even in a support role. It wasn't just a case of dropping something off or delivering a client delight, or it was able to handle yourself in front of a vendor and, be able to almost complete a sale with, negotiating an offer.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that stuff early on in my career that I was doing it anyway, for lots of hours in the week, mind you. I didn't work weekends, but it would be nothing to have a 12-hour day on a weekday.
Okay.
And it was also not unusual for our team members to still be here at 8, 9 o'clock at night. And because at that point I didn't have children, so I didn't mind.
You were just there as well. You're in the trenches with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So although, we're describing the role as a supporter, because of the training, the exposure, the knowledge that you built, that allowed you to be, as you said, like an extension of the sales team. Yes.
There's no way I would have been able to support them as well as I did if I didn't attend the same training and have the same knowledge that they had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you remember learning about in those early days? So like coming to seminars or even just in training meetings with the team when you were first exposed to real estate? What do you remember about that sort of phase of your career?
While a lot of what we are taught is common sense, it's highlighted in a way that you wouldn't want to do it any other way. I don't remember specifically what stood out to me, but certainly hearing the stories of everyone's career and sales stories throughout the training makes it so relatable. And so you could wake up every day and follow that manual page by page and have an amazing career. And while I'm not necessarily a bookworm, I know the manual fairly well inside and out, and I implement most of that on a daily basis.
Yeah.
apart from probably some of the numbers stuff that I don't concentrate on.
Yeah, and I think, it says that in the menu, you have to know your numbers, but that doesn't mean you have to be the person who tracks them. Like in your case, you got Jamie tracking them for you, so which is great. As long as someone knows your numbers.
Jamie loves a running mate. A bit of competition's really good for him. It's not something that I pay attention to.
Need as well, it's just not in your makeup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that's why he watches mine as well as his.
Love it. Yeah, he wants to make sure that he is the first time adventure and you're not going to, pick him at the post. So, yes, Jamie, I know you'll be listening to this. Be very mindful of that, mate. You said something before that was interesting to me. So, and you said it in a really positive way, but I guess with your son and that time that you had extra at home, I'm putting words in your mouth a little bit there, but like losing your identity a little bit.
Yeah.
And so you decide to come back to real estate. Did you feel that your base that you'd learnt in real estate, your identity could be that of a salesperson, or was it just, I'm going to go back into it and see what happens? How did that sort of, those early thoughts, those discussions with Nathan, how did that lead you back toward real estate?
He always encouraged me to do it, like all of my teammates and leaders. After I had extended maternity leave for certain reasons, I came back into the support role, and I think it was just time for my career. It was time to get cracking, and we had put a lot of focus into the business where Nathan was working, but I wasn't working there as such.
Yep.
That was his trade, and this was my trade. I'd been doing it for such a long time. Almost felt like a waste not utilising what I'd learnt over those years if I didn't put it into practice, or at least to see how it went. Yeah.
And when you started doing that, how did you see your career unfolding? As in, like, what did you feel Larrisa was going to bring to the table, and how you could positively help people in their real estate journey? What excited you about that?
I always knew I'd have no trouble connecting with clients and maintaining clients and referral business, things like that, because I don't have any trouble with, building relationships. Rapport is something that I focus on a lot. I was quite happy just being, the part-time lowest sales performer in our office. That was okay with me. Yeah. I just wanted to do it for myself, just to see if I could do it, basically.
Yeah. I think what I would like to say to the audience listening is that it's very obvious listening to you, and you said this exactly before, you're not ego-driven, okay? And there is a lot of ego in our industry, okay? And there's a lot of ego. I got to tell you, as a salesperson, I had a lot of ego. Like, I think that ego can be a very healthy thing, but after a period of time, and this seems to be where you've ended up, and maybe you skipped the whole ego step, but we've got to learn how to transfer that ego drive into a purpose drive.
Yeah.
And becoming a purpose-driven agent, that's when you can really reach some heights. And that purpose can be as simple as yours is, looking after the client.
Yeah.
Once we're doing something that's bigger than ourselves, that's when our career can really, really gain some momentum, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I totally agree with that. Purpose is definitely what it is. When I stepped into the position, it would have been nice to be the person that provided for the family for a change, because I was always on a support wage, which was, nothing special. So I thought, well, if I can earn some reasonable money for my family and use the skills that I have, put them into practice, why not? So it started off as let me have a turn of providing for the family, but quickly developed into let's do everything we can to help the clients get from A to B. And, that's kind of my focus. And I don't sacrifice family for work, but they are all really supportive about where I need to be and what I need to be doing, because my success is the family's success at the end of the day. So the kids know when I'm on the phone in the car
that they're quiet and they just listen. Yeah, well-trained.
Things like that. And they know why we do it. We do it because we get to go on holidays and we get to have nice things.
Yeah.
They understand the importance of it, and Nathan picks up the slack a lot for the long hours that I work, and so do all of my family members.
Okay.
We are very lucky to have the nans and pops and my sister, and everybody helps pick up the pieces with picking the kids up from school and running around after the family, because late nights are pretty common.
Yes.
And early starts are pretty common, and weekend work, and yeah.
Do you think if you didn't have that tribe around you, nens and pops and like those extra supports, if it was just down to you and Nathan, do you think the two of you could have the success in the business and in real estate like you guys are having? Or do you think that extra support network is what's necessary?
Not that we couldn't do it. We probably would choose not to, because if my kids had to spend all their time being cared for by a child carer or a stranger, I probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But the fact that I can commit to work because I know the kids are in family hands,
yes, that's
a choice.
And the reason I ask that, it's such a challenge that so many people want to rise to, like, yes, especially when so much is with real estate, it's about timing. And so many people can be a great success in real estate if they get their timing right.
Yes.
And for a lot of people, they find those early years. And when I say early years, it's when the children are still dependent on you. And for some people, that can take them up to the ages of 14 and 15.
Yes.
Once they get their license and doing their thing, that independence takes over. It's a whole different ball game. But I'm getting a little bit off track there, but I guess that's an interesting distinction that you made. We can do it, like anyone can do it. Well, certainly you and Nathan, let's not put words in other people's mouths, but you would choose not to. That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What are still though then, as a family unit, the four of you and your extended, what are still some of the hardest parts about trying to juggle a real estate career and be mum and family and all of those elements?
Probably the classic real estate meme or clip that you see all over social media where your family member or your friend is a real estate agent and they've constantly got a phone up to their ear.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's just your life.
It doesn't matter where I am, whether I'm off or not, you're still always doing something. So it's what you sign up for though. And it's a balance, because in my first 12 months of taking on my own clients, I didn't really have any days off or a break at all. Okay. And 12 months of doing that's a bit silly.
Yeah.
But I don't cope very well with not being there for them. I would rather just be alert and helping them. Even though I've got an awesome team, I just get it done.
Yeah. Yep.
So actually I improved on the time off last year and being a bit more conscious of a day off for me is no suit.
Okay.
It doesn't mean doing nothing. It
doesn't mean no client contact. It just means no suit.
It means that's my mental day off.
Yep.
And so I got better at that last year with scheduling a day off or a weekend off or, holiday. But Ethan Hennessy talked about this short quarterly break and, larger breaks in between. And that was very relatable to me because I needed to hear that when he said it.
Yes.
And it's all about taking those things on when it's right for you.
Absolutely.
I've definitely improved on the downtime. Mm-hmm. You kind of have to, because if you want to be successful, you have to be able to talk to people on the phone at 9 and 10 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to be alert at 6 a.m. when everyone's awake. You've got to be able to do those out of hours things. You've got to be talking to people on Sundays, and so then you've got to give yourself those times off too.
What boundaries do you then put in place? Because everything you're saying, I completely agree with you, and it's wonderful to hear it like you say it in those ways. I think that's excellently articulated. But do you put boundaries on things? Like if you're going to a certain event or something with the family, you're like, I'm not going to look at the phone? Or are you just, because you haven't got your phone on you right now for the podcast, is this like extremely out of the ordinary because we're sitting here talking?
So I couldn't leave, like in an appointment, you can ignore your phone for a little while because I never look at my phone when I'm with people.
Yes.
But I've had a very busy morning this morning and I've actually given my phone to Megan, our sales supporter, and I am consciously thinking of how she's coping and does she need me. But
Larrisa has about between 7 and 10 offers coming in on one of her listings at the moment to give everyone a bit of context. So, yes, when I got here this morning, Larrisa was under the pump. So, yes, so we are grateful for that.
Yeah, thank you. I do struggle to not check it and not look at it,
Mm-hmm.
but I do probably prioritise what I pay attention to it most of the time.
Yeah.
Prioritise what needs me instantly and what can wait a couple of hours or.
Okay. So there's this subconscious what's urgent, what's important.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah. But again, you would find that you've been able to do that better with time. So,
yes.
And I think you make an excellent point there as well. Your first 12 months in real estate, if I'm to quote Todd Pierce, who we had on the podcast, he was 2 episodes ago. He speaks about the first 2 years. Your first 2 years, it's just all consuming.
Yes.
And then from there you work out and you define your real estate life. Like, what is it going to look like for you? Because what it looks like for Larrisa is going to look completely different to what it looks like for Ethan that we were just talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of my colleagues are really good at switching off and giving themselves that time and that grace to recharge. I'm terrible at it, and everybody tells me that I need to do better at that. But I actually feel better about keeping an eye on things.
Yeah.
Switching off is really hard for me.
Yeah.
So even though I probably should have that time where I don't pay attention, I can't. It's worse for me. Yeah.
Sitting here talking to you, and every time we do come across each other, you've never struck me as someone who is close to burnout or anything like that. And you've obviously got a lot on your plate, and I think it's fair to say more than others. But yeah, you don't seem to be strung out by the weight of the responsibility of how you carry it.
It happens.
It does?
It does.
Yeah, okay.
Probably comes out in my attitude, and certainly some of the people closest to me can see it.
Yeah.
I do occasionally start having meltdowns, and I know that that's almost break time.
Okay, yeah. Well, actually, break time was probably 2 weeks before the meltdown, so yes.
It definitely happens, but I don't wear my heart on my sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
So I do contain that fairly well.
Yeah, nice. Excellent. Oh, that's good to know you're human, so that's good. Let's swing the conversation then back towards your clients. And I'd like to get an insight, if I can, because of that client focus that you have, if I can just go through a seller's journey with you, okay? And I know the great thing about your career now, and I think we'll touch on this a bit later on, is prospecting is no longer a huge part of it. You did a lot in your early days. We're going to come back to that shortly. But if I can quickly just start with the prospecting that you used to do, you start a lot of those conversations face to face.
Yes.
When you're knocking on someone's door, you're approaching them for the first time. Why are you arriving at their door? Like, what's your because for being there?
I'm a local real estate agent offering some help.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically
simple as that.
Yep.
Just a nice open book.
Not necessarily asking for anything, more of an offer.
Yep, fantastic. How is that received by people? What does a typical conversation look like there? What does a good conversation look like?
Well, everyone's going to move at some point. Mm-hmm. So I think what you're trying to find out while you're there is, firstly, how soon, if they're doing something in the next 12 months. But regardless, you don't do this for a short career. So everyone you meet is going to be a client eventually. Mm-hmm. I think that's really important to take notice of.
That's a mindset, Larrisa, I can tell you that most salespeople don't think about, okay? And it's not necessarily a flaw, but it is a failing of theirs that a lot of people are thinking about this month's listings, this quarter's bonus, this year's revenue. That's what they're looking at. They don't look at the next 20 years, am I doing this long term?
And that's probably why my non-focus towards the numbers works for that as well, because I don't roll into a month or a quarter focused on numbers. Mm-hmm. I just take the actions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that would be one of them. It's the work you do for today is not necessarily for tomorrow. It's for down the track. You're always working for the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then how are you prioritizing a day there? So when you're doing an action that, as you say, you might not get a return on for 5 or 6 years, how do you keep that a high enough priority? On a day like today, for example, you've got appointments, you've got 7 offers, or let's day by day with real estate is always hard. Let's look at the week in general.
Yep.
How do you still find time to prioritize for future Larrisa?
It is hard because I see a lot of value in not just calling and asking how somebody is, but I often will take lunch or morning tea or afternoon tea, and I'll sit with a established client for however long, and there may not be a reason for that in a work sense right now.
Yeah.
But they will always send their friends to you because your clients become your friends, and that's what I maintain, those relationships. So, you just stay in their mind. You're really just their friend, but also their trusted agent.
Yes.
And then you become their friend's trusted agents or their family member.
Do you find a lot of business that you have now, you are the only agent in the lounge room and you are there on the back of a referral?
Yes, and that makes a very big difference because if you are handling a code A, which is somebody who's just called in because they might be thinking about selling and they want to know what their house is worth, you can bet that there's 3 other local agents going as well.
Yes.
And they don't know or trust you yet. So it comes down to how strong is everyone's sales pitch at the end of the day. You're just trying to prove to them that you can do the right thing by them, and they have to try and believe that within about half an hour. So when you've been referred to somebody who already has a trust, you know that it's not going to be very difficult to build that rapport and to show them why you're the right person to help them. Yeah.
7 of your 8 listings this month have come from this long-term approach you've taken to real estate.
Yes.
So they've come from referrals, people you're in touch with, established clients. Yet we're only 3 years into your career.
Yes.
And you're already seeing the return on that. You earned your platinum badge this year.
Yes.
What were your numbers for you to do that?
So 103 sites, meaning around about 51 and a half houses sold for the year.
Yes.
And $740,000 in gross commission.
In gross commission. So you've hit those milestones, those numbers, not being focused on numbers, focusing on long-term relationships, yet we're only 3 years into your career and you've already hit that.
Yes.
Why do you feel that you've had that faster return on that long-term view? Because that's what you've taken. A lot of people think, people sell houses eventually, but that's every 7 to 10 years. Yet in 3 years, you are reaping the benefits of that mindset.
I think you read between the lines with what is said to you and what the true situation is in some instances, but also things change for people all the time. So you just have to make sure that you're on their radar, or you're on their radar when somebody else says something to them about it. It's just about them thinking of you first.
Yeah, fantastic. And then when they think of you first, there's every chance, as you say, you're the only agent in that lounge room.
Yes.
And you're not trying to prove to them that I'm the best. You're trying to prove to them that what we can do for you is the best for them.
For me, it's never I'm the best. For me, it's do you trust that I am the right person to help you and keep you safe and make sure that you don't lose money.
So, okay, let's focus on that then. We're in a listing presentation with a seller, whether it's come from referral or otherwise. What are you focusing on first? When you first get to that property, you're first meeting them, where are you trying to take the conversation to begin with?
First is always them, their story, their situation. It's finding that relatable ground and listening to what's important to them. It's then our strategy and why it gets the highest price and why they're safe with us and how that works. And then it's about getting the job done at the end of the day. So they need to trust me that I'm not going to do the wrong thing by them. But it's never about you need to come with me because I'm the best. Never. I don't believe that anyway. I wouldn't say it because I don't believe it. I'm probably too modest for my own good.
I think, though, that people would read and detect that. They would see a lot of quality in you. They'd see a lot of competence, and that would give them confidence. But you're not sitting there beating your chest and just saying, I can't imagine you're walking into someone's lounge room next year and going, this is me getting my platinum badge and this is when I got my gold badge. That's your style of presentation.
No, my clients really never know about the numbers that I do. I do direct them to my referrals. I get a lot of business from people seeing the referrals that I have from my clients. Mm-hmm. They find that on their own and contact me directly. Yep. So I show people the client
those reviews
feedback
that you collect and that feedback.
Yeah. Yep.
Fantastic. What about so you've won that business, you're working with them. Talk to me about what it looks like working with a client throughout their campaign. So, and it's all well and good when, we've got a property like you have this morning, 7 to 10 offers coming in on it. Like it's going to be a good time. You're going to have happy sellers.
Yep.
What about those sellers that come on above market value? There's got to be conversations around repositions of price, altering your strategy or pivoting according to market feedback. How do you approach those conversations?
Well, you have them regularly.
Okay. What does regularly look like to you?
Every couple of days.
Right. You're talking that often. Yep.
Yeah. You don't want to leave them waiting or wondering because it's quiet. You are not the reason that it's not selling. Mm-hmm. You're only reporting the market. So leaving them wondering leaves them doubting you. Mm-hmm. But staying in touch is a big part of that, and showing them that you are doing everything you can in a proactive sense rather than reactive. So we're not just waiting for the phone to ring. Mm-hmm. We are actively selling the property and promoting the property and trying to find relatable people to that property, rather than just waiting however long it takes. So I think showing them that you're working hard and communicating constantly is the key.
So every couple of days, so 4 times a week, you're speaking with your listed sellers. That would be fair to say, at least.
Most, mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, There's always some that you don't need to do quite that much with, but most, yes.
But most you are, yeah. And how many properties would you have for sale at any sort of one time?
The more I get, mm-hmm. the more that stresses me out because I'm really big on making sure I can service everything that I take on.
Yes.
I'll almost not take on something to the point if I can't fit it in. Okay. So
what sort of your capacity then do you feel? Like for you to be content that you're delivering the level of service that you want to?
Probably 10 actively for sale properties.
Okay, right. So you might have like 3 or 4 that are getting ready, prepared for market, that sort of thing, but 10 active campaigns at any time.
Yeah.
I think that's a really healthy number. I think anyone listening to that would relate that, and again, to clarify for those non-listeners non-members of our system in that Larrisa isn't a lead agent that has sales associates working under her or anything like that. She does every bit of her own prospecting, listing, buyer inspections. That's all you.
Yeah.
And the way you work with your team, though, is you can very much sell Rhiannon's properties. She can sell yours, Jamie. And that's why you talk 51.5 sales, because there's always that crossover.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a great support person too, and she can do a lot for me. We've mm-hmm. also got great support in the office too. So we've got the help there when we need it, but I'm not a big delegator. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not, no one here works directly for you to take that load off your shoulders. No. Okay. Probably the last thing I'd like to finish up then with that client experience is, once you've sold that property,
yep.
How do you take the time to celebrate with that client and make sure that final chapter of the sale, which is after unconditional through to settlement, how do you make sure that as well as a positive experience? And I'm asking you because, again, you've got that long-term view of your career. What are some of the things you like to do there?
I think it's important to not vanish from the moment the contract is satisfied. So it's very easy to work really hard to get the contract to a point where it's unconditional and moving forward. And then often you have a 30 or 60-day settlement. Don't go missing at that point.
Right.
And then once the settlement goes through, I will catch up with my client with a gift, or we'll have lunch together, or we'll have a coffee together, or I'll go and visit them in their new home. It's not always on the day though. It could be 2 weeks later. It doesn't need to be.
The settlement's a hectic time for people. The last thing, like, Larrisa, we love you. Get out of our way.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. It's about when it's right for them. So if they've settled into their house 4 weeks later, you go and visit them 4 weeks later. You don't jump on them on the day just because you want to drop off a gift. It's about when the timing's right.
I like that. I like that a lot. And you do the same with your buyers as well? Like you make sure you spend time with them?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, terrific. Okay. Obviously you prioritise that time. You feel that that's valuable for you to do that. And is that weird for people? Like, are they like, why are you still here? Why are you doing that? Or have you sort of set the foundation the whole time that you're just naturally becoming that friend?
I've had people say to me well after a property settlement, I don't have a house to sell anymore. Why are you staying in touch? I'm like, because I genuinely care about how you are and where you ended up, you know.
Nice. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. I think there's so many great lessons in that for our listeners. So thank you so much. I really am. It's great to not only get that insight into that long-term approach that you take, but I think that's really encouraging for people to hear that although you've taken a long-term approach, you've gotten very fast returns on that. So I think that's great. Larrisa, I want to just quickly talk to you about your membership within Smarter Training. So you've experienced that, within your agency has been part of the system forever.
Yes.
You're, 17 years yourself, you've been exposed to it as sales support, home finder, now platinum badge salesperson. What do you think, mum and dad's brought a work ethic to you, the business that you're with has brought a client first culture to you. What does the system overlay or bring a foundation to that adds another layer to your career?
Ethical practice would be the first part of that. I don't know how some people survive with the things that you hear that go on within our industry.
Yeah.
I think having a structure to actually follow instead of just winging it. It's so easy to get licensed as a real estate agent, but I think people forget that it's someone's largest asset.
Yeah.
And they may only sell once or twice in their life. So while we know, we have to make sure that they know and they feel comfortable. But our system keeps us on track and keeps us focused on the important things. And that's why we get the highest price for our sellers.
What are some of those foundations and structures that really do, like when you say that, what is it that you think about? Like when you say that, what are some of the structures that you tend to follow that serve you?
The way we handle our buyers and our inquiries on properties, because I know most of them are lucky to get a call back.
Yeah.
I can't understand all the effort it is to put a house on the market and then to not handle a buyer correctly, but it seems to be common practice in the industry.
We could go down a rabbit hole there, but I think we're seeing a surge of buyers agents coming to the Australian property market because traditional real estate agents aren't servicing buyers, and buyers they don't know how to navigate the real estate market. They're not getting information from agents. They're not getting phone calls returned. That's why buyers agents are coming out, because someone needs to look after them.
They're filling the void.
They are the void that so many of our industry are just creating. And I couldn't agree with you more. The amount of time, energy and effort to win, secure, market a listing.
Yeah.
And then basically just to ignore them and expect that they'll turn up at the open.
Yeah.
Baffles me.
It baffles me too. So the way we handle the buyers is really important. And the fact that we maintain a buyer database, we don't lose people's contact information. The way we conduct ourselves with inspections and how we handle the Smarter Open Home, if we do them.
Yeah.
And the follow-up that we do. Our pay structure is really important.
Okay. Why does that work well for you?
I think there is a certain type of behaviour that comes with a commission-only real estate agent.
Yes.
And I think that is almost what makes the bad reputation that real estate agents have.
Yeah.
So we can slow down the process and take a different approach to that with our salary-based pay structure.
Yeah. And again, just those non-members who are listening, Smarter System really encourages a really healthy large salary for their salespeople, and then commissions are paid quarterly, like in a lump sum. And so that does a couple of things, but it really allows you, I believe, to achieve some big goals, because when you get 40,000, sometimes 80,000 a quarter. And I don't want to talk too heavily about money, but when you get that, you can do something of significance with that number. But as you say, when it's commission only, it's hard to see past that transaction and that commission check.
It's definitely not money focused. You just sort of reminded me of something that I think your client delight accounts and your client delight bill needs to be fairly large to know you're doing it right.
Yeah, right.
It's not just about what we get paid. It's about what you put back into it as well.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. Other strengthening points would be knowing the seller's motivation for a sale and, the reason they're doing what they're doing. That's private. It doesn't really need to be shared.
To be broadcast, yeah.
And it certainly doesn't help their situation to lay that out on the table for everyone to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of little things that we do differently to everybody else that make up that smarter sale process.
It's funny I've asked that question and you've pulled out a couple of elements. All of them have led to that final negotiation. You're not revealing the seller's reason for selling, which is keeping power. You're paid in a different way, so you're detached from that process. You can be more objective, slow it down, like you said. But then it's even from how you're handling buyer inquiry, your inspections, all of that. So for you, what the system is bringing is an absolute belief and confidence that if we follow it, we're getting a better price than our competitors and the highest price in the market.
Yes.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. That's I think that's wonderful, because that's a great way for the system to add value to your business, is because I'm sure you bring that to a listing presentation, that confidence that with me, you genuinely will get a better result.
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, let's take another side step. We're going to talk about some upcoming events with Smarter Training, who's on our Winner's Circle hotline, and then we're going to come back to Larrisa with our final 3 questions. As a member of the Winner's Circle, you of course have access to the Winner's Circle hotline. What is the Winner's Circle hotline? You've got a sale that you can't get together. You've got a listing. You've walked out the lounge room without a signature and you're looking for ways to get that result over the line. Call the Winner's Circle hotline. This is where you get access to diamond badge salespeople. They're our $1 million producers or principals from across the country who will give you a different perspective, a different concept, a different idea to help you get that result together. And helping us out on the hotline between today and next podcast, we have Caroline McAvoy from Caloundra City Real Estate. Caroline herself is a diamond badge performer and will be part of a series that we do at the annual convention this year, our convention evolution, which we'll speak about soon. We also have Terry Robinson. Terry is the leader of today's guest, Larissa's leader. So Terry, great to have you on the podcast. Michael Flynn was running Flynn & Co. in Victoria, but has since recently merged his business with another local business, and they're in now, once again, their partnership, their growth phase of that business. So it's fantastic to see that. Michael brings a lot to the table. And Jason Kunos, we mentioned one of Jason's teammates earlier today that work under him in the top 3 for salesperson of the quarter. And Jason and his brother Luke run Hudson Bond Real Estate in Doncaster, Victoria. So you've got a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of talent there that you can access to, as I said, to get those listings and sales over the line. So please do utilize that resource that you have as well. What we also want to talk about is some upcoming events. So by the time you listen to this podcast, we'll probably be well and truly into our masterclass series. Twice a year, Smarter Training does half-day workshops face-to-face around the country where we deep dive into a particular topic and we do a masterclass on that topic. This masterclass is centered around closing, and we call it the art of closing. So we're going to be in Hobart on October the 13th, Sydney October 14th, Melbourne on the 15th, and finishing up in Brisbane on Thursday, October the 16th. But later in October, we've also got our management seminar. The management seminar is actually a 5-day seminar, and that's a long time to be out of your office. But what the 5-day seminar covers, it really gives you an opportunity to sit down and look at a system of real estate for you to run your agency from top to bottom. It covers everything from the culture you want to set in your office, how you have control over your finances within the business, and the results that you want to generate. We go through recruitment. How do you recruit salespeople, sales associates? How do you recruit property managers? How do you recruit, train, and onboard these people so you're not relying on having to find talent from other agencies by giving them a bigger commission split? So that is what we're looking. We're looking at training great salespeople, especially from the ground up, and having them a part of your team so that they can earn a substantial income for themselves individually to achieve their goals, but also so that they've got the right mindset and the right culture in place to have you serving those sellers in your community that you've built your business within. We also look at listing opportunities, how you create an ongoing flow of listing opportunities in your business. And then once you've built your team, how you manage that day to day. We also have a good deep dive into your property management department. And we look at everything from how to structure that, how to look at organic growth, how to assess acquisitions. And there's a good look at the property management side of your business as well. So it's a 5-day seminar. But what that is, we invite, if you're not a member of Smarter Training, that's your invitation to come along and actually see that 5-day seminar for yourself. And that's where you get to create, to make the decision whether this is the right system for you. So if that's something that you'd like to talk to us about, please do reach out to us at Smarter Training. Talk to us about what we do day to day, week to week, month to month with our members. And if 5 days isn't where you can start, you can always start with a phone call, with a conversation, and we can see how we might be able to work alongside your business as well. The dates for that management seminar kicks off on Sunday, October the 26th, and goes through till the Thursday, the 30th of October. I also want to, of course, mention in November, we have our annual convention. This year it's happening in Sydney at Dalton House, and the theme of this year's convention is evolution. And what we're talking about is real estate is one of those industries that is constantly changing. It's constantly evolving. What was true 18 months ago is not necessarily the case today. And although the fundamentals, the foundations stay in place, we have to look at how our industry is evolving. Of course, AI is a part of that conversation, but it's not as simple as that. It's also talking about the consumer that we deal with. What are they looking for in a real estate agent? What are their expectations? How do we communicate with them? How do we speak to them? And how do we make sure that we win their business and win their business in an ongoing fashion? But we also want to look at we're having a lot of our members speak about how they are succeeding in today's market. What does life look like today as a real estate agent when someone's balancing family and work, or they're looking at how they stay mentally and physically fit outside of their day-to-day real estate life. And so that all these things we're going to look in and spend some time on. It's going to be a great 3 days with some really exciting guest speakers. Of course, one of the big guest speakers that we're most excited about having is Ivan Cleary. Ivan Cleary, of course, the coach of the Penrith Panthers. They've had a sensational last 6 years at the club, winning 4 premierships over that time. And we're here to get the insights from Ivan on how he can create a culture of sustaining that high performance over a period of time. So he is one of many great speakers that we've got coming along. So, of course, during the convention, we have our Gala Awards night. Now, nominations have already closed for our support nominations, Administrator of the Year, Receptionist of the Year, Supporter of the Year, but we have a wealth of awards still open up from our performance pieces. So Salesperson of the Year, Property Management of the Year, Property Management Team of the Year, Sales Team of the Year, Agency of the Year, Sales Manager, Property Department Head. There are all these categories. So if there's someone on your team that you think this is the year for them to be held up in lights and acknowledge for the work that they do, if nothing else, please put their name forward for a nomination. You can, of course, do that through Control Center and get those nominations into us, and we'd love to see their details there. These are all part of what we do as Smarter Training. We put on good online events, we put on good face-to-face events, and we acknowledge our people. We acknowledge them in the right way. We acknowledge genuine performance. We acknowledge looking after your clients and being a great team member. They're our measures of success within our community. So, as always, I want to thank my team for putting this podcast together. In particular, a shout out to Chantel, Chloe, and Connor for making all of our episodes come together, and really appreciate the work that they put in. Hope you've enjoyed this episode with Larrisa. I genuinely have enjoyed sitting down and speaking with her. So let's finish it up now and let's hear our final 3 questions with Larrisa. Larrisa, to round out the podcast, which has been great. So let me say up front, thank you so much for your time and going through your story with us. I think this has been a great episode, so thank you.
Thank you.
So Larrisa, the 3 questions. What's the best book that you've read that's helped you in real estate?
So Fanatical Prospecting was definitely up there. There's lots of good ones. Mm-hmm. I think that's the foundation of what we do. If we can't do that well, we probably can't survive.
Yeah.
But seeing him live at one of our annual conventions definitely helped a lot of that really resonate and sink in.
Yes.
So that was a very, very eye-opening experience reading that book, and a big reminder of where we need to be and what we need to be focused on.
Absolutely. So if you haven't come across that, that's a book written by Jeb Blunt, spelled Blount. And one of many, many books that he's got. But yeah, Fanatical Prospecting. Inked is about negotiation, the sales EQ, like your sales intelligence. People buy you, people follow you. He's just got great books out there. So recently he's released a book on AI in sales. Virtual selling is probably one of his lesser known titles. But if you find yourself as a salesperson dealing with a lot of investors, how to do a good video presentation and connect with people in more of a virtual way. So just such a wealth of knowledge. And but you're right, Fanatical Prospecting, such a brilliant book. Sorry, I could go down again a rabbit hole with Jeb. So.
I think it's important to say that all of his books are good, and seeing him live at conference made a big difference.
Yeah, he was his energy was next level.
Yes,
it was. Larrisa, what's some of the best advice you've been given since being in real estate that you find yourself leaning back into often?
I don't see myself as confident, and I take a lot of that from other people, sort of pushing me in the right direction. So give it a go is probably one of the biggest things. And that can be in any day, give any conversation a go, do the hard jobs first, have the tough conversations first, because that makes the whole day a lot easier.
Get that out of the way. So
yes.
I think it always is good to remember that we don't deal in life and death.
Yes.
Literally, a little bit we do sometimes. That's why someone's selling a house, but you know what I mean? It's the consequences of our things, it has their limits.
Yeah.
So you really can put yourself into some uncomfortable positions and just get through it. So
yeah.
Last one to round out the episode. With the benefit of hindsight, knowing everything you know now about real estate, what would you, given the opportunity, go back and change?
Sometimes I think I probably should have started doing what I'm doing sooner, but I also don't think I would have been ready then either.
Yes.
So hindsight, maybe I could have started younger, but I don't regret starting when I did, because wisdom plays a big part in being successful, I think.
Yes.
It's quite hard to connect with people and build those relationships as an 18 or a 20-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it is. You've got to be a special sort of person at that age to be in sales, listing and selling houses at that young age, because you're right, that maturity and wisdom is an important piece of that puzzle.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wish I'd had a go at it when Peter was here, because he always wanted me to do it, and we can't turn back the clock.
No, we can't. But I'm sure if he is watching over what you're doing, I'm sure he's very proud of what you've done, as all of us are at Smarter Training. So, Larrisa, once again, I just thank you so very much for your time, for sharing your story, and sharing some really valuable lessons to our listeners. I'm very grateful for that.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Very welcome.